Thanks for joining us on The World Now on TVC News. We're beginning with Israel's attack against Iran about 24 hours ago, which is creating tension in the Middle East. In retaliation, Iran has launched missiles against Israel, threatening to strike the nation intensely for what the Iranian president described as acts of brutality. We have more details in this report. It was a night of intense fighting between Israel and Iran, with both sides trading fire and explosions heard in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Tehran. Iran launched missiles in retaliation for Israeli strikes, which targeted its nuclear facilities and military bases yesterday, killing senior commanders and 6 scientists. Ballistic missiles hit parts of Israel overnight, with a number of alerts issued for the people to take shelter. That was after Iran activated its air defense system. Israeli officials and local media say 3 people were killed and dozens injured.
But I can tell you that there's been numerous buildings that were impacted, mainly residential buildings.
Iran's representative to the United Nations says 78 people were killed yesterday by Israeli strikes and at least 320 injured, with the majority being civilians. In a BBC interview, the former head of Israel's security agency, Shin Bet, and commander-in-chief of the Israeli Navy, Ami Ayalon, said Israel sees the strikes against Iran as a war of defense. He added that most Israelis see Iran as a major existential threat, emphasizing, and Iran is very close to reaching a military nuclear capability. For him, this is the right time for Israel to strike Iran. Reacting to a question on the role of the U.S. president in the strikes, paraphrasing his response, Minister Ayalon said Donald Trump gives an impression to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he will support every step he takes, leading him into playing the role of the bad guy to attack Iran. Just to send a message to Iran on the consequences of not signing a nuclear deal with the U.S. But the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has denied any U.S. involvement in the attack, adding that Israel told Washington that it believes the strikes were necessary for its self-defense. Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and the country's President, Masoud Pezeshkian, says Iran will respond to Israel's attack in a wise, strong, and resolute manner. The president has asked Iranians to maintain unity, describing the conflict as a psychological warfare. Both nations closed their airspace following the attack, and Israel declared a nationwide state of emergency. Israel's neighbor, Lebanon, has reopened its airspace after temporary closure. The government says was necessary for security reasons. Jordan has also reopened its airspace. Iranian state media says no flight will operate in the country until further notice. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, says Iran was preparing for a surprise attack with a nuclear strike which Israel could not have waited for before reacting. Speaking to reporters, the ambassador said that the series of airstrikes across Iran were calculated and necessary to dismantle Tehran's nuclear and missile infrastructure. He claims intelligence revealed an imminent coordinated assault involving nuclear capabilities.
Last night, the State of Israel launched a preemptive operation against Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile infrastructure. Dozens of sites across Iran were struck with precision, and many senior terrorists in the IRGC were eliminated. This was a calculated and necessary action, based on clear intelligence and carried out in response to an escalating existential threat. For years, the Iranian regime has funded and directed attacks against Israel through its terrorist proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Iran has fueled instability across the region, while openly declaring its intent to destroy, to eliminate the State of Israel. But in recent months, the Iranian threat took a dramatic turn. Iran advanced significantly toward nuclear weapons capabilities.